From the rain-soaked streets of a city that keeps its books in the dark, Calloway Bay Radio presents Endless Noir. Tonight, The Fall She Didn't Take.
The cold came in that December without any weather to it. No fog off the harbor, no rain on the glass, just a hard, clean chill that got into the radiator pipes and made them knock like they wanted out. The woman in my doorway wore a plain gray coat and no angle at all. That was the first thing that put me on my guard. In this city, everybody's selling something. She looked like she'd already spent it all. Sit down, out of the draft. You've got the look of somebody who's been standing in the hall a while working up to the knock. Start with your name and whose it is you came about.
My name doesn't matter much. It's my sister I came about. She danced at the Orpheum, in the chorus line. Ruth. She's the reason I'm sitting here in a stranger's office instead of home. They buried her Tuesday. The police say she fell. This was hers. A rhinestone comb. Cheap, the paste kind. But she wore it every night like it was the crown jewels. It's the only thing of hers I've got left. I keep turning it over in my pocket like it'll tell me something.
She set it on the blotter between us. Careful, the way you'd set down something still warm. The little stones caught the desk lamp and threw it back cheap and bright. I've seen a lot of things laid on that blotter over the years. A comb worth $2 was the saddest of them. A fall from where?
From the flies. The catwalk up over the stage, where they hang the lights. They say she climbed up there alone and slipped. Ruth couldn't stand on a kitchen chair to reach a high shelf. Heights turned her to water. She would not have gone up those stairs. Not for anybody. Not alone. I can't pay you what a thing like this costs. I know that. But a man at the paper stand told me there's one fellow left in this town who'll do the honest thing, whether it pays or not. I don't know if that's you. I only know I've got nowhere else to set this down.
I looked at the comb and the comb looked back, and I did the arithmetic a smarter man wouldn't have. A grieving woman with no money, a dead girl the law had already filed under accident, and a certainty in her voice that I couldn't buy or sell. I took the case before I'd decided to, because she wasn't wrong about the stairs. A girl afraid of heights doesn't climb toward the sky on her own. Somebody walked her up there, and now I had to go find the man who did. The Orpheum was dark between shows, cold as a church that had stopped believing. Backstage, it was all rope and canvas and the smell of chalk. Overhead ran the flies, a catwalk in the rafters, 60 feet up, where they hang the scenery and nobody goes but the men who rig it. That was where a chorus girl went down. The lady beside me was her sister, and she hadn't stopped looking up since we walked in.
That's it up there. That's where they say she climbed. My sister couldn't stand a stepladder, mister. She'd hold the banister going down to the cellar. And they want me to believe she went all the way up those rungs in the dark on her own 2 feet? She didn't. I know it like I know my own name.
I went up myself. The climb took my wind and half my nerve, and I'm a grown man who's been shot at. At the top, there was a landing the size of a card table, and on the rail somebody had set down a lit cigarette long enough to burn a scar in the wood. She didn't smoke. Somebody had waited up there, patient, in the cold, for a girl afraid of heights to be brought to the one place she'd never climbed to alone. The wardrobe hand talked while he pretended to sort costumes. Said your sister had a fella she was trying to shake. Flowers she didn't send back fast enough. A fur she wouldn't wear. A gentleman. Money. The kind who signs the checks that keep the lights on here.
The angel. That's what they call him. The man who bankrolls the house. She wrote me about him. Said he looked at her like she was already something he owned. She was leaving, mister. Train ticket in her bag. A whole other city waiting. She was getting out. And then she fell.
In her things they'd handed the sister, a comb, a compact, a ticket she never used. There was a card with a name embossed on it, a good name, a clean name, the kind that gets a wing named after it at the hospital and a pew of its own at church, the kind of name that buys its way spotless by the yard and closes a case before anybody thinks to ask the right question. I put the card in my pocket. Somebody was about to ask it.
A man can hide most things, friends, but never a cheap hat. The Meridian Hat Company has blocked fine felt for gentlemen since 1908. Rainproof, wind-steady, and shaped to keep your business under the brim where it belongs. Meridian, the hat that keeps its shape and yours. And now, the conclusion of The Fall She Didn't Take.
The Orpheum sits on the frayed edge of Marchetti streets, so I took the long walk to the Blue Room to find out whose business a dead girl was. No rain this week, just a dry, mean cold coming off the harbor, snow ticking on my collar like the city was keeping time. The Blue Room was warm and half empty, and Pauly was at his corner table the way a spider is at the middle of a web.
Well, look who walks in out of the weather. Sit down, detective, before you catch something. 4 winters, maybe more, since you darkened my door. Man could take that personal. Sit, have something warm. Then you tell me what a fella like you wants with a fella like me.
A girl went off the flies at the Orpheum, Pauly. A chorus girl. They wrote it down as a slip in the dark. The theater stands on your corners, so I came to ask the polite question first. Is she yours? Is any of it yours?
No. And I'll tell you straight, 'cause you came straight. That girl's not mine. That house is not mine. The death is not 1 dime of my business. I know when something happens on my streets. That was somebody's private trouble, not the family's.
There's a man behind that theater. Puts the money up. Clean name, cleaner than the wash. You know him?
I know the kind. He buys respectable by the yard, like drapes. Pays for a good name the way you'd pay for anything else. And it hangs nice, and it keeps the draft out. A man useful to people upstairs, so nobody looks close. But he's here, detective. He's local. He bleeds. That's more than I can say for some.
And what do you want for telling me that?
Nothing. Not a favor, not a marker, not a hello down the road. The girl's dead and it's a shame and it isn't mine. Go on. Do the honest thing you do. I hear you still do it.
In 20 years, Pauly Marchetti never gave a man a thing without holding the other end of the string. Tonight there was no string. He just watched me button my coat and walk back out into the snow, owing him nothing at all, which sat colder in my chest than the harbor wind, because I understood the arithmetic now. A spotless name like that was worth more than 1 dead girl's whole life to every soul in this town. Every soul but me. The house had let out an hour ago, and the Orpheum went cold the way a church does after the last hymn. Just the ghost light on its pole, 1 bare bulb throwing long shadows up into the flies, and the 2 of us standing where her sister went down. Outside it was hard December, dry snow off the harbor. In here it was quiet enough to hear the rope creak.
You brought me down here to the stage. I've been avoiding this spot for 3 weeks. So say it plain, mister. You know something, or you don't.
I know your sister was afraid of heights. You told me that the first day, and I couldn't shake it. A girl who wouldn't stand on a chair to hang a curtain doesn't climb 3 stories of iron ladder in the dark for the fun of it. Somebody was up there with her, and only 1 man had the reason and the key.
The patron. That soft, respectable man who sends the flowers. Everyone tells me his name like it settles the matter. Like a man with a name that clean couldn't have done a thing this dirty.
He bought that name by the yard, but he didn't buy the catwalk. There's a fresh gouge in the rail up in the flies, bright metal under the paint, right where a hand would grab to keep from going over. She fought him. She told him she was leaving. Him, this city, all of it, and he'd sooner she fall than walk. The rail remembers even when the coroner doesn't.
She had a bus ticket in her coat. I found it after. I couldn't understand why a girl about to get out would climb up there and die. She wouldn't. She didn't.
No, she didn't. And here's the thing about a man like the patron. Rich enough to grease a paper, respectable enough to be believed, but small enough to still fit in a cell. No ledger to burn his name out of, no office downtown to swallow the file, nobody upstairs who finds him useful enough to save. Just a plain man on the end of a plain murder. For once, the mark on the rail was a thing I could hand the law and watch it stick. a killer with nowhere left to hide, and a sister who'd finally be believed. The cold came down dry that week, clear as a verdict, no rain to soften the edges of it. Word from the hall was the theater's angel would stand trial for the girl who fell out of the flies, and for once the money couldn't paper over the hole. A murder that plain hasn't got a price. I sat with that a while, which is a thing this city doesn't often let me do. Dale watched me do it from the doorway, coat still on.
You're smiling. I'd remember the last time you did that sober. Don't pull anything, Sunshine.
They charged him, Dale, and it sticks. He spent 30 years buying this town's good opinion by the yard, and it won't buy him 1 inch out of this.
Good. She came a long way on nothing but your name. A plain woman, no angle, no perfume, just a dead sister and a rumor that you're the one who does the honest thing. Same name that used to paint a target on your back. This time, it walked a decent client through that door instead of a hard case. So take the quiet tonight. Let the radiator do its work. But you know the deal in this town. Nobody hands out 2 clean ones in a row. Whoever knocks next won't be her.
She was right, the way she's always right and never gloats about it. The wind was real and the girl was still dead, and both of those would keep till morning. Out past the cold glass, somewhere in a town that never learned to sleep, a hand was already going up to knock, and it wasn't going to bring me anything this clean.
The books never balance in Calloway Bay, Sunshine. We just keep them anyway. Good night.
Next week, The Last Number.